Morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee Break Accounting with me, Becky Brooksbank. I hope you're all sat there with a cup of tea or coffee, whichever your preference is, and are ready to go. If not, feel free to press pause here. Go and find your hot drink of choice and then come back and join me for about 15 minutes of jargon-free accountancy support for your business. So we are today on Series 2, Episode 4, and I wanted to show you the best bits of Xero. So if you remember back, and if you've been following Series 2 while we've been going through, we're looking at simple systems. So I am trying to persuade all business owners out there that there is possibility for you to have a simple system for your business that will allow you to do the day-to-day bookkeeping. So you don't get behind, you always stay on top of your numbers and everything else. So a prime example is our case study, Mr. John Tapp. So Mr. John Tapp's a plumber and he loves plumbing but absolutely hates numbers. And through this series, it's about how we can persuade Mr. John Tapp that actually it is possible for him to do his numbers in such a really straightforward way that won't take him time, will leave him able to go and do things, and actually just makes him more professional. So the first series started with a bit of a recap on why we need to keep records anyway, and the main thing is for tax and legal purposes, so that we can prove the numbers that we've claimed when we filed our tax returns and submitted our accounts. But outside of that, you should want to do it for your own personal satisfaction as well. Then we went on to start having a look at how you might generate your simple systems, and I introduced you to Xero, which is the accounting software I affiliate with my practice. I do have clients on other softwares, but generally if I was setting them up, I would always pass them over to Xero and say that's the one that I prefer. Now, last week, I sent you away with a takeaway task, which was to get yourself set up on Xero. I gave you a quick overview of the basics of Xero, but this week what I wanted to do was go through some of the more in-depth bits so that I can show you, one, how easy things are, but two, how beneficial this can be for your business. So today what we're going to do, apologies, I've put my picture over part of the slide. But what we're going to do is have a look at some of the day-to-day transactions in Xero. So I'm going to show you how to raise an invoice. If you remember back, I said that I can raise an invoice on my system in 29 seconds, okay, using Xero, saving time. So one of the key points of using an accounting software is that we can save time. I want to show you how you can chase your debts through Xero, which actually is not much of you chasing, but is a lot of Xero doing some behind the scenes legwork. I just want to show you quickly how to put bills and costs through Xero so that you can see the other side of it, because it's all great talking about income, but we do have to spend things as well. And the last thing I wanted to touch on is bank feeds with you. Now, this is automatically updating your bank account in real time into Xero, so you can see what your statement balance is and match all those transactions off so you know you're 100% up to date. So that's going to be today's quick overview. Then I'm going to come back and I'll mention to you the couple of business names at the bottom, Fluidly and HubDoc, at that point. So let's delve into Xero. I have already opened up the demo company, so I'm not showing you any client information here. It clearly says Xero demo company. One of the things I love about Xero, okay? And whenever we go into Xero, we will always be brought onto this dashboard page, okay, and the dashboard is your snapshot. It's where you can navigate to all your different places from. You can quickly see your invoices owed, the bills you need to pay, where your bank's up to, and you can customize this so you can add bits and bobs into there that you might want to see. I've got a number of clients, I'm not sure if this one shows it. No, see, there's the edit dashboard button. This one doesn't show it, but I've got a number of clients where their VAT comes up on here as well, so we can see how many days the VAT return or if they've got to do anything with a VAT account, which is also a really useful tool to have. Okay, so what I wanted to show you first, after the dashboard, you get a number of tabs along the top. Okay, so the business one is where you're going to process everything. So this is all your day-to-day type stuff, and that's where we're going to concentrate today's efforts on. Accounting is where you start to get into reporting. Payroll, self-explanatory as payroll. Projects is where you can get employees and yourselves to time cost, and then you match your cost and expenditure against your invoicing, so you know how much your projects are making. And then you've got your contacts, which is, as it says, all your supplier and your customer contacts in there. Okay. So like I've said, today we're just going to have a quick overview on this business tab. Because it's where you will do the 99% of what you do will be in here. Okay. Ignore the business snapshot. That's something that's coming. It's a prototype at the minute, which I get as a practice. But under there, you'll see everything to do with invoices, everything to do with bills, and then expense and products and services, should you wish to use those. Now, invoicing is client side of things and bills are supplier side of things. So Xero, and you can see here, lets you raise invoices to clients. It lets you do quotes and then convert them to invoices if the jobs get accepted. And it will also give you a sales overview. Similarly, on the purchases side, you can raise purchase orders. So if you need building supplies, for example, because you're at John Tapp, the plumber, he could put a purchase order on for Dewsons, for his piping and this, that and the other. Then he can send them a purchase order, and when the invoice comes in, he can match the purchase order to the invoice and check all the goods and stock off against it. So it's an all-encompassing system, okay? And you can use it from the start right through, or you could choose not to do purchase orders or quotes, and you can just do the invoicing and put your bills on, okay? So the invoicing side of things, here, if we go to it, so these are all the invoices that this demo company has had raised, and literally if we wanted to raise a new invoice today, we could go into here, and this is where my 29 seconds came in, because actually you can autofill. So if I just look for a customer, there's Bayside Wholesale here. I can't tell whether it's a customer or not at this point in time because I'm not through this one, but we'll assume Capital Cab Co. We need to raise them an invoice. It's going to be dated today, and it might be due. If we just set them up with due date in their customer contact, this would automatically pull through. So I'm going to give them till the 30th of April to pay. Now we could put a reference, and we'll put services BB, that's me, and then we can put services rendered April 2020, whatever that might be, and we'll charge them £150, and you can see it automatically goes to the sales account. You can apply discounts, so if we wanted to give them a 10% discount, you can put it on here, and then it will code it to your sales account, and it will decide whether you want VAT or not. So if you're a no VAT business, then you just click no VAT and it takes the VAT out. Okay, I'm just going to move my screen over a little bit so you can see the totals here. And then it will total down, and you can click approve. Now, if you had stock items and you were invoicing out stock, for example, rather than the surface, you can pick up your item code on here, and it would pull through. Similarly, you can set up item codes for different services. So if you have a repetitive service, you could set up an item code for that service, and it will. The great thing about Xero is it starts to recognize things. So over time, it generates a bit of an intelligent system, and we'll put them in for you. Now, the great thing here is we've raised the invoice now, it's in the system. And actually, you could look at a copy of it if we print the PDF. And the reason I'm showing you this is because it's really nice. Look, so you can put your invoice template however you want it for your business. You can put your own logo on there, you can put your own payment terms. So they've clicked PayPal, so if somebody wants to PayPal, they can just click and it'll feed them through, due date, everything else. So it's a really complete invoice for you to do and easily send customers. So actually all you do now is, once you've completed the invoice, if you've got a contact in the customer, it would already say it, but you know, we can send it, you can type in the email address, so we could send it to me, and all you then do is click send, and it will send the invoice to whomever you want it to send to, just like that, and also record that that's what you've done. That is a great thing about invoicing. So now you can start to see where my 29 seconds of, oh, hang on, I need to raise somebody an invoice. Right, I'll go and raise my invoice and I'll send it. It's done. The perfect thing is, if we now went and had a look at the invoices, The cab company one is right at the top here, and you can track on here where it is, the date it was raised, the due date, whether it's been paid, how much is due, and whether it's awaiting payment. Now, I said to you a little while ago, or a little bit earlier, that we'd start having a look at the debt. So you might get some clients who are a bit naughty, they don't tend to pay, they're a bit slow and everything else. Now, in Xero, you have a number of options. You can send them statements. So you can send them statements. I always say to people, at least once a month, send your clients a statement reminding them how much they owe. If you click the send statements, you can do that straight out of Xero and send them a lovely statement. The other thing that you can do is send invoice reminders. So what that would be, at the moment it's turned off, but you can choose which contacts you want to send invoice reminders to. So if you have people who are regularly bad payers and you're constantly phoning them to chase, then you can turn on the invoice reminders and it will chase the invoices as they fall due. So you can set it up however you want, but generally after a week it'll send them a reminder saying, hi, are you going to pay your invoice? After 14 days, it will send them another reminder. And then after 21 days or however long, it sends them another reminder. And you can tailor that. So you can tailor the wording or leave it as it is, so that over time, they can get more and more strict. So the first one could be, oh, do you know what? Your debt's fallen due. Is everything okay with the invoice? The next one might be, hang on a minute, you're now 14 days overdue. We might need to put your account on hold, can't ship you any goods, whatever it might be. And then the last one says, I'm going to ring you because this debt is really old. Okay, so whatever your debt chasing system is, you can make Xero do that. And the great thing is you can tailor it per contact as well. So that's one of the things I love about it. So that is a quick overview of how to raise invoices and how to chase debts in Xero, and it really is as simple as that. Okay, now again, I go back to what I said last week, is there's plenty of tutorials. So if you wanted to see something on a tutorial, you can just open one of the tutorials in the help here, and you'll be able to find out anything you need to know. So moving down then, I won't show you quotes or anything today, because then, important but not as important as other stuff. And then we'll go to bills to pay. Now the bills to pay are bills that you are paying as a business, okay? So they're things you owe. If we looked at one of these, for example, they've got a bill to Smart Agency here, and it will tell them when the due date was. Now, it's referring to HubDoc here, and we'll come back to HubDoc. I'm going to click no thanks to get rid of that message, okay? So here we can see that they've had a prototype banner and print for an ad series, and that's how much it's cost, and that's the general ledger code it's gone to, and they've got VAT and everything in it. Now, one of the really cool things, and this demo company isn't actually using it, is that you can upload files here. So for example, if you had a copy of that bill, and I'm just going to pick a random document that I've got on my desktop here. So say I had a PDF copy of that bill, all I would do is I would click it there, open it up, and it would save that document here. So if you wanted to refer back to that bill at any point in the future, you literally click that button and you can find that document. Okay, I'm just going to delete it so it doesn't upset the demo company. So the brilliant thing is that you can save all your bills, and they're saved online, they're saved in the cloud. You don't need to keep them any longer. Job done. So that really is as simple. If you wanted to add a bill, you literally do exactly the same type of process we're looking at for invoices. New bill, whoever it's from, they had Bay Wholesale, the due date, which will say on there, but we'll assume that they've got a due date of April. We put an invoice reference in here, 1997, attach a document. We're going to say it's for £120 with VAT, and it's for some coffee and tea refreshments for the office. Who knows if they do that, but we do. Let's see where they might have it. Refreshments. No, they don't have refreshments. Food and subsistence. Every GL account's set up differently. So we will have a look down here and see if we can find an expense code for it to go to. We'll call it general expenses. Okay. And then you can see it's got the £120, and then we can click approve. And that registers that bill then as it being owed to Bayside Wholesale. So we know when we can pay, and then when we pay, it allocates it off. So that really is as simple as putting the bills on. So if you get an invoice in, 2 minutes later, job done, scan it in, save it, shred the bill, you're done. So the final thing to show you today is the dashboard. So I mentioned that you could get direct bank feeds on your dashboard, and that's what this is doing. So it will automatically update overnight for all transactions the day before. So this client's got 28 items to reconcile, which means there's 28 payments in or out of the bank that they need to match to a transaction. Okay, so payments in need to match to your invoices that you've raised, and payments out need to match to the bills that you've put on the system. So you can see here it's automatically being Smart Xero matching Truxton Property Management, so that's their rent, with payment, and that's the bank side of it, and this is what they've put on Xero. So literally to reconcile, you just click OK. Similarly here, they've had an invoice in from one of their customers, Ridgeway University, and Xero is saying, hang on, does this match? Now, if it doesn't, you can ignore this and you can go into one of the many find and match and you can search for a different invoice, okay? So it's fine to do that, but if you're happy with it, you can click OK. And the main thing to remember with Xero and the direct bank feeds is that actually, if you've matched the bank, you're 100%, near enough 100% up to date with all your bookkeeping. So you can have as many bank accounts as you've got in here. You can even link Go Cardless, Stripe and PayPal. So every time a transaction happens in one of those, it'll put it into here so you can match it all off. So it becomes an all-encompassing system really, and you can just add bank accounts, transfer money between different bank accounts and everything like that. So your goal is basically to reconcile all of these, and you'll know you've done it when you get a lovely little green tick, and it's really satisfying. So those are the main bits I wanted to show you in Xero. So let me just start from my current slide again, if it's going to let me do that. So that was a very whirlwind tour, I know. I'm just very conscious that I don't want to waffle on too long. So I mentioned to you the two companies at the bottom. So the one other thing that's great about Xero is that they have affiliated companies. So HubDoc is a Xero product, okay? And what HubDoc does is it extracts data for you. So you know how I said when we were doing the bills part there, that you could, when you get your bill, you could type it in, save it as a PDF, etc. And attach it in. What HubDoc actually does is you don't need to do any of that. With HubDoc, all you need to do is either take a photo of the receipt or if it comes into your email, forward it to HubDoc, and HubDoc links to Xero. And from HubDoc, you basically tell it which supplier it is and which account code you want it to go to, and it will extract all the information from it. So it will read the amount, it will read the invoice number, it will read the date, it will read the due date, and it'll fill in all those boxes for you. And all you have to do is do a quick sense check down the page to check it's done it right, and then click publish, and it will put it in Xero as a transaction for you and include that PDF. So whatever your photo is or your PDF, it will attach it into Xero for you. So it makes it even quicker than having to sit there and manually enter all those things. Okay. Fluidly is a cash management tool. So actually, let me just head back to HubDoc again. HubDoc is currently free with standard and premium packages. So it's a free tool that you can use as a Xero user to make your data entry that much simpler. Okay. Absolute bonus. Fluidly is a cash management cash flow package. And what it does is it takes your history in from Xero, reads all your bank, all your transactions in there, and predicts your cash flow. And then you can go in and update the prediction. So it might say, for example, in doing it today, it might look at all your history and say, actually, in August, we expect you to get 50 grand in from sales. But you know this year, because we've got the coronavirus and everything else, the sales in August are likely not to be 50 grand. You could tailor that down to a more reasonable 30,000, for example. Okay, so you can override the predictions, but it does 80% of your cash flow forecasting for you based on the intelligent API extractions that it's doing, and is really user friendly and looks really good. Now, the free version of Fluidly that you can get is called Fluidly Lite, and that is a 90-day cash flow period. You can then pay for an upgrade, and you can do an unlimited cash flow period. Most people tend to look at a year, but it will do it for however long you want to run. So Fluidly, again, I set all my clients up. They get the option of HubDoc and they get the option of Fluidly Light with their package. So it's all included within it. Okay. So that in a nutshell is Xero. That's all the day-to-day bits and bobs that you will need to know in Xero. So if you decide to use Xero, HubDoc and Fluidly as part of your day-to-day business transactions, then you will get the benefit of all those different options that I've just been showing you for the reasons that I've explained in my series before. So I have basically, if John Tapp, our lovely plumber, was real, I've just realised let me just move that over to here so you can see the picture. I've realised that Mr. John Tapp is needing a bit of help, and my next thing would be to persuade him to have a look at Xero and see if it would be any benefit. Last week's takeaway task, I said to you, why not try and run the free trial of Xero, set up your basic business information, and then take it from there and see what you could come up with. Now this week, my takeaway task is to have a go at timing yourself on raising a sales invoice in your old way and see how long that takes, and then have a go at matching the transaction in Xero and doing a comparison. I can guarantee you will save time, okay? So I'd love to hear what the difference in time between raising your invoice in your usual way to the point of sending it to a client and then doing it through Xero actually equates to. Okay, so feel free to send me your feedback because I'd love to hear. Hence, I've got the stop clock over here. Have a go at timing yourself and see how long it takes. All right. So that is Coffee Break Accounting for this week. We will continue our review of simple systems over the next couple of weeks. I think I'm just going to have a look at how many sessions we've got left. Series 2, so we have got another 3 sessions of Series 2, and next week we'll be looking at how to deal with petty cash transactions in Xero, which will give you more of an insight into how Xero works as well and how you can manipulate it. All right, so thanks everybody. Hope you've had a good Coffee Break Accounting session today, and take care, and I will see you next week for the next episode. Thank you very much for your time. Bye.